Ahoy, yonder down under barnacles ye. I'm Laz.
And I'm Cody.
And we're not just across the pond, we're across the other pond.
The show where consistently from now on, we're going to talk about rats at the start of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I know
actually
last
almost
episode...
said possum. I almost said we're across
possums
the
do
other
eat rats.
possum. I almost said that. Okay.
But last episode, I mentioned rats can swim. I looked it up. They can swim for a whole mile. They can also tread water for 3 days.
What does that mean? They just like float?
That means they can just float and not like drown if they're not expending their energy for 3 days. So that's how they hitchhike on ships sometimes, is they'll be out at sea because they swam, and they'll just tread water until a ship comes by, and then they'll climb up it.
Wow. Man, that's some dedication.
What an insane creature.
Yeah, we forget sometimes that the most amazing creatures on this planet, or things in general on this planet, are just things in everyday plain sight, or just like such like lowly. It's kind of like that whole thing with Taoism, right? Shang Shui, the highest goodness is like water, right?
Yep, going back episodes. If you don't know what Taoism is, go check out one of our older episodes.
Yeah, episode 3, season 2, episode 3.
Correct.
You'll love it. Okay, so like, yeah. What are we talking about today, Cody?
We're talking about the Star Wars franchise. We're covering all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Are we? Are we talking just the movies, or are we going into Clone Wars?
We can talk a little bit about, extended stuff too, but I want to focus on
the movies,
episodes 1 through 9.
Okay,
movies.
These, what is now known as the Skywalker Saga.
Why?
That's what it's known as, because it's always about a Skywalker.
Is it? I guess it is. You know, you got Luke.
It's Anakin, Luke, Ben. Major spoilers, right? We're just gonna spoil it.
Yeah, we're just gonna spoil everything.
Yeah, and the dumbest choice ever, that Rey is a Palpatine. What a bad idea.
I think it could have been cool. It could have been cool.
If
they would have decided it from the beginning. It felt like...
like in episode 7, if they were like, yeah, dude, she's totally going to be a Palpatine. But they didn't actually set that up. They just decided later that she was a Palpatine.
I'm going to just
What's your general feeling on each of the trilogies?
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, so the first one, gold. I love it. It's classic. It's so great.
Like we're saying original trilogy, right? Not prequels.
4 to 6, yeah.
Okay.
4 to 6, so great. Yeah, I love them so much. It's just such a great, like, all the acting, all the storytelling. It's so good. And then 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like how when you're a kid, you think you want to go to McDonald's all the time, but don't really.
Yeah.
It's
you're sure that it's going to be great all the time. You're sure. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I get that feeling. Yeah.
But, and then 7 through 9. Okay, so this is watching it with Fang Fang, what is it, a month or 2 ago, was the second time that I've seen it, episode 7, and I didn't like it as much as I did the first time I saw it. I think I probably felt kind of the same kind of thing that people felt when they watched Phantom Menace for the first time. They were like, whoa, that was so good. And then you kind of let it like sit
in your brain for a little bit,
or something in your mind.
Oh no.
And then but like I mean, there's some cool stuff in it, I'll have to say that. Like, the thing is with episode 7 is just like, I probably was kind of, what is the word? not ignorance is bliss, but I was kind of like I kind of went on in it wearing rose-colored
Yeah, we
glasses,
hadn't
kind of.
seen a Star Wars movie in so long.
Hmm.
So
So
for
I
it to
think
just
that's
be like Star Wars was cool, even though it's a
yeah,
rehash of episode 4.
and I think this kind of goes into what we were talking about last night with Metroidvanias, is that um sometimes they can be such a rehash of old stuff that it just gets boring.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything new. And I think that's what 7 kind of did, like too much, but it was also it was all right. To be honest, I think out of the last trilogy, I like 8. I liked 8 this time. There was some things that kind of just
Was it because I remember the
like
first time we talked about this a couple of years back when it came out, you were like, 8 is so boring.
well, it's no, I didn't say that. I said it's just, well, the thing is, okay, so the maybe we shouldn't do it like this and just randomly. Let's
Yeah, I was going to
start.
say, I want to do my general feelings on them, and then we'll start in the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
Because
Yeah,
I had a really
so
good question, I think.
well,
So,
I'll just like my general feelings of the last trilogy is okay-ish, and then hot mess. It
okay.
pretty much becomes a hot mess. Okay, and then back to you, Cody.
Original trilogy of me, fantastic. Love them all. Prequels, fun, not good. I like to make the distinction because they are very fun movies to watch. I like watching the prequels. I don't think they're particularly good movies, but they're fun.
Okay.
The sequel trilogy is bad. I originally was a sequel defender while they were coming out. Like episode 8, a lot of people already shit on. I was just like, you know what? Let's wait and see. 9 was so bad that I was retroactively the rest of it. I was like, this is just bad now. You've made it bad.
Like 9, one word to just sum it all up. Hot mess.
Hot mess.
Just hot mess.
A hot mess.
Like it's literally like, okay, you know when you just feel like destroying your body with food, you go to Taco Bell and you just order anything that's just a hot piece of just everything.
Meat and cheese. Cheese.
Yeah, meat, cheese, like whatever, like tortilla, flour, corn, it doesn't matter. You might as well just take a water and a fucking bag of flour, throw that into a bag with cheese and with like any kind of meat. You get rabbit meat, just throw it in there, just slush it all around, put it in the microwave.
Meaty, cheesy soup.
Yeah, and then just stick your hand in it and lick it off. You know, that's your hot mess of episode 9. Oh my god!
All right,
but okay, I have another thing that generally to say about it though. Too, even though I just said that I didn't really, I still think 7 is probably the best of the third trilogy. And I noticed something: the best movies of both of those trilogies are the ones closer to the original trilogy, like 3 in the first one, and 7 in the last.
Yeah, that is
like the farther it goes away, the more they have to just come up with bullshit.
Yes, that's a great way to put that.
Like,
but I want to ask you something to really start this. Do you remember the first time you saw Star Wars? Because I can't remember the first time that it like entered my life. Like my memory is just like, you've always known Star Wars. So I was just thinking the other day, I was like, I don't remember when that got introduced to me as a kid.
I think Star Wars was okay. There's a few. I remember a few things that got introduced to me, and I'm going to start with Harry Potter. So like, so I was introduced to Star Wars, I think the same way I was introduced to Harry Potter by my parents, is just like taking us to go see the movie. And just like, not even, I don't know why we went to see it. Maybe they thought we would like it, or maybe they wanted to see it themselves and just took us along because, hey, yeah, might as well.
That's a kid's movie. Yeah, they could totally enjoy that.
But so what's how I got introduced to Star Wars was probably 2 things. We had a Star Wars game for the SNES when we were kids.
Oh yeah,
and it was like going through Hoth. It was Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back, really fucking hard game.
And yeah, it was. I don't think we ever got past the first level on that game. to be honest. And I think it's actually worth a lot of money now.
Yeah,
That
an
game.
original cartridge probably is worth a lot.
I feel we had so many good games back in the day that I feel like if we would have just like kept them instead of trading them in for new stuff, like I that's one thing I'm really mad at Kid Me for, is not holding on to that
Yeah, I did
the
it
old
with so many
systems and
games.
whatnot.
Pokemon, especially, I was really bad with. I would trade them in, and then like 2 years later, be like, "Fuck, I want to play that game again. Now I got to go buy another copy."
Yeah, exactly. So
You dumbass.
man, yeah, kids just don't think about things like. And now I'm making an investment portfolio, and part of it is Pokemon cards. It's like it's a kind of like that kind of stuff. But actually, would be a good investment would probably be an Earthbound copy, like those. Yeah,
Yeah,
unless Nintendo like releases their surplus that apparently they have, like rumored to have.
that would be an
But
insane idea.
mhm. But like oh yeah, so like then also I remember actually going to see Phantom Menace in theaters as well. So I remember actually being brought to the movie theaters to see it. So it was like I was just a dumb kid that just like was brought along, and it's just like, here honey, watch Star Wars. And it's like, what's Star Wars? What's a Star Wars? And then it's like, here's a Star Wars, watch it. And I'm like, okay, as long as you give me candy.
Candy and
It's like, and
popcorn?
that,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
I liked
and
going to the movie theaters with my parents. I used to go with my mom all the time before my sisters were
mhm,
born. That was one of our
mhm,
things. We'd go to the movies.
yeah, like did you go see Phantom Menace,
I
or
did see Phantom Menace. I specifically remember going with my dad to see Phantom Menace in theaters.
in where were you at that time? Because if
I
the
think that
audience
would have
didn't
been.
know,
It was
Cody is a man of many places.
yes. It was 99 that Phantom Menace came out, right?
I feel like 2001 or no.
2001, 99.
Was
It's one of
it
those
pre
years.
9/11? I don't know.
It was pre 9/11. I'm pretty sure. 1999. I'm right. So I would have been in
Okay.
Norway actually when this dropped.
Really?
Yep. That would have been 99 to 2000, I think. So we were in
How did you
Stavanger,
understand
Norway.
it? Wasn't it in the Norwegian dub?
No. Man, that would have been crazy, honestly, if my first version of Phantom Menace that I saw was in Norwegian. And just forever, I was like, these are not the people that played these parts. Why are the voices all weird? Whenever I went to see Attack of the Clones or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember going to see it. I don't remember I just remember being like, Darth Maul's lightsaber was fucking dope. That's my memory of Phantom Menace. And droidicas were cool. I remember that.
To be honest, like I actually don't think the prequels were that bad, really. Like, but we can start from the originals,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into it. So now that we know our Star Wars origins to the extent that our monkey brains remember them, let's talk original trilogy. It's fantastic.
Well, can I add one more thing to childhood stuff?
Sure, absolutely.
I think I think why I like the prequel so much is because Attack of the Clones was the movie that really got me into Star Wars, I think. Because like I remember actually buying Count Dooku's lightsaber.
Oh yeah, that always feels cool to get one of the lightsabers from the show.
Well, when we played Star Wars all the time, I was always Count Dooku. I was one of the kids that liked to be the bad guys.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, what did you ever get a lightsaber?
I had Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
Obi-Wan's.
I think
that's
blue.
what Nikki had. I think it was Anakin's, the blue Anakin lightsaber.
Yeah.
Or it might have been Obi-Wan. I don't remember. But see, that might, and we can talk about that more once we get into the prequels. But let's start from the originals. So,
have you seen the original cut, or have you only ever seen the special editions?
What do you mean original cut?
Do you not know about the special edition versus original cut of George Lucas's tampering with the original trilogy?
No, I feel I feel robbed of something now,
Yeah,
though.
so from the 90s on-ish, when there was a VHS release of the originals without the tampering, and then George Lucas went back and added a bunch of special effects to the series and released the
Oh.
deluxe edition. So it includes like a bunch of strange animals and Mos Eisley. The like the Yeti attack in Empire Strikes Back is different, or the Wampa attack is different at the beginning there. In the original cut, it's just very more like Jaws style, where you don't actually see the creature a lot. It adds that stupid song in Jabba's palace, and also in the original cut, the first time that Han is meeting Jabba in the special editions at where he like walks around him in the by the Millennium Falcon is originally not Jabba. It's just some guy who works for Jabba. Yeah, and I actually have we need to get a Laserdisc player and we can do an original Star Wars night, because I have the fucking Laserdisc copies of the original Star Wars.
We'd have to go to my parents' house because they have a Laserdisc player.
Yeah, there's no way that he tampered with these Laserdiscs. They have to be original cuts. I'm pretty sure.
Because like I do remember thinking, because like I remember when when I originally watched the originals, like one thing that really sits in my mind is the Force ghosts were different, because in the new one they have Hayden Christensen.
Yep.
And happy birthday, Hayden Christensen.
Happy birthday, Hayden Christensen. Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't drop that at the beginning.
Yeah, like at the time of this recording, it is Hayden Christensen's 58th birthday. So, like,
is that true?
Birthday.
I thought it was his 40th
No, I don't know
birthday.
how old he is.
I'm pretty sure it's his 40th birthday.
Is his 40th birthday?
Yeah, don't
oh my
make him
God,
that
that's
old.
Awesome. I just wanted to say it like a matter of fact, really. Just like, yeah, it's just like, of course he's 58, you know? Or I could have said,
he looked so
64.
good in Empire Strikes. He looked so good in Revenge of the Sith for a guy who would have been like 40 something. No, he's 40. He's 40 this year, which is
but
fantastic.
Yeah, like
I like Hayden Christensen a lot.
I actually do enjoy his acting, to be honest. But like we'll talk about that more when we talk about the prequels more. But like the originals, like with that like new cut version, the Force ghosts have Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, which makes no sense. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
it makes me kind of like it kind of makes
Obi-Wan and Yoda are old. Like they didn't get to go back to their younger Force ghost bodies. They're just like looking over at Anakin and he's like, wait a fucking second.
Wait, why didn't they just like replace them with
it doesn't make any sense. Like
yeah, why don't you use the other actor for Obi-Wan also?
Well, because they didn't want to replace Alec Guinness. I'm pretty sure the reason they did it is because a lot of people didn't know what Vader looked like in the suit. Because that's the actor who played David Prowse, I think is his name, who played him in the suit, is who is the original Force ghost. And the only time we see him in the whole series unmasked is that very last scene, and you see the back of his head in Empire Strikes Back. But that last scene where he's redeemed, basically, and he tells Luke to take his helmet off, that's the only time we see him. So I guess George Lucas thought, oh, well, we've seen him in the prequels as Hayden Christensen, so everybody recognizes that as Anakin Skywalker. But it's bullshit, because David Prowse should have been the last guy, because he was redeemed at that moment to be a Force ghost.
Okay, yeah. Like, I really want to see that again, because I remember watching the originals with Fong and just being like, I want to see that guy again, because it's like such a fuzzy memory. Hayden Christensen is a very new image in my brain, but like that other guy.
Yeah, I still remember what he looks like.
Wait, isn't that guy like a Scottish dude or an Irish dude?
I believe that is correct. He's definitely a European actor.
Because I remember like they tried to do Darth Vader with his voice originally, and it just sounded like I can't do a Scottish accent. It's just
it was not as imposing as James Earl Jones.
Like I remember hearing like that famous scene. It's like, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. And it was like, you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. You know, it was just like,
it doesn't have the same
God.
weight.
Actually, that wasn't too bad of a Scottish accent. You're part of an rebel alliance.
What's your
Actually,
favorite one of the original trilogy?
uh, man, that's a hard one. I want to say, I mean, it's so hard because like
They're really all
when
three
I
very
think of
good. I like all
when
of
I
them.
think of A New Hope, like I just think of that. Like my favorite scene in all of the Star Wars is, um, the twin sunset
Oh yeah,
with Luke, and
with the
it's like
music,
binary sunset.
binary. So John Williams fucking nails it. So good.
Oh my god, you see that scene? It's like you the movie has barely started, and you already feel like bawling because
Yeah,
it's just such a beautiful moment. But yeah, like A New Hope had just everything in it. It did, if they never made anything after it, A New Hope would have been a great movie
it
just
still would
by
have been a great
itself.
movie. I think my dad saw it like 17 times in theaters when it came out.
Really?
Yeah, and I know he tells the story to me all the time. He ended up seeing it by accident because
Really?
the movie they were going to see was sold out.
Uh,
They were
uh-huh.
like, "Well, shit, we're already here. The Star
Uh-huh.
Wars film is up. You want to catch that?"
Uh-huh.
And he was just like, "This shit's fantastic." And movies were $1, so
Uh-huh.
just go.
I mean that kind of reminds me of like when me and Peter decided to watch like 3 movies in a row. No, we decided to watch 2 movies like in the movie theater once. Like it was in high school. We watched one movie. I don't even remember which one it was. But then we were like, they never check our tickets. Let's just walk into another movie. And so we went to the other side. We walked into another movie. They didn't check our tickets. And it just so happens that movie was 3 hours long, and it was Benjamin Button.
Oh
And I
my
remember
god.
that one much better. But that movie is just like a great movie to watch with Peter because like it's got that same humor that Peter has. It's
Uh-huh.
like that guy that's like, like, did I ever tell you I was struck by lightning 7 times? Once when I was just walking my dog. It just cuts to that scene, old timey like film. But anyway, like Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. Like, yeah, like A New Hope. Just like I also saw like a picture of when it was premiered in Japan, and it was just like a man, like the how it was just like showed on like the street corner with that giant uh Star Wars poster with like Luke like with his lightsaber
Yeah.
up in the white. Oh my god, it looks so cool on like the Tokyo like corner there. Oh, like I never really thought of it being released in Japan. I wonder what people thought of it.
I think
But
a lot of
like
people draw the comparison because it takes a lot from samurai movies, is that it's
oh,
a samurai
does it?
movie in space.
Hmm. I I feel like I remember hearing something about it, maybe on extra credits or something about it, like just being a hodgepodge of just everything, like all the great sci-fi before it,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And
like
then
and
it took a lot from spaghetti westerns,
mhm.
the samurai movies, and basically any sci-fi that came before it. George Lucas just put it all together in his
Mhm.
mind and was like, let's
Oh,
make a movie.
I remember like what it was like. He actually wanted to make a sequel to like some what is it? Back then there was a really popular sci-fi character, and I forgot what it was. It's like one of those like the Flash
Flash
Gordon.
Gordon? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
I think
actually
you're
wanted to
right.
make a
Yeah.
Flash Gordon movie. And then couldn't get the licenses, so he's just like, I'm gonna make my own movie.
Yep.
You know, and so, yeah, he made Star Wars, and thank God he made Star Wars. And then I mean, like I, I just keep thinking about the South Park episode
Him and
with
Steven Spielberg.
yeah, like raping Indiana Jones, and it's so true. Oh my God,
They
like
really did
George
burn
Lucas.
it into the ground. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite. I think it's got the like you really get the Vader payoff because Vader's cool
Mm,
in A New Hope, but in Empire Strikes Back they really established his relationship with Luke, and that is
mm,
such a crucial part of that whole saga. And it
mm,
really just feels like a great movie altogether. And you get Yoda,
yeah.
who's awesome.
Mm,
You get the line, "We're luminous beings," feels awesome, so spiritual. And then the end of that movie doesn't. It definitely like the bad guys win basically, and now you're like, shit, I gotta find out what happens in the next fucking movie.
Wait, is that what happens?
Basically, like they're
because like
Luke loses a hand, he's got to get that replaced. Han is in carbonite, getting shipped off to Jabba.
I never even really thought about that.
He loses his hand to Vader, like, and he's just broken.
That's interesting. I never. That should be so obvious, but I never thought about that. Like, but like, and I mean, like, it kind of goes with the premise of the movie. The Empire Strikes Back. Of course, they're gonna win then.
Yeah.
If, like, they strike back, not necessarily. Maybe they strike back, but they can't
complete it. Which there is that bit of hope at the end where Luke and Leia are still together, and there's an opportunity. But they're going to have to do some surmountable odds, basically.
Sweet home Alabama, that kind of opportunity.
I do. It's so funny because it's kind of like lightning in a bottle, because for sure George Lucas didn't know exactly how that trilogy was going to go. Because the first one is just basically a space fantasy movie with an open ending in the sense that Darth Vader could come back. But that's about the most continuity between that one and Empire Strikes Back. So when he got greenlit for another movie, now he's coming up with it still on the spot. Like, I wonder at what point he decided that Luke and Leia were actually siblings. Because I feel like he didn't decide that until Return of the Jedi.
Well, I don't know.
Because, like, for sure in A New Hope, they're like...
because especially
will they, won't
just
they
like think of the
romance with Han
first
Solo
time they
in there.
saw each other.
Yeah.
It kind of like, how like everyone has that like sixth sense of knowing who is going to be with who kind of thing, like as soon as they see each other. Like they did something like that in that, like the camera work, and also like I remember it having like a sheen over it, being like, aren't you a little short for our stormtrooper? And then just being like, and it's like, yeah, like we're gonna fuck kind of like a vibe. But then obviously like later on it's like, yeah, we're siblings. It's like, okay. And then it started kind of like that thing that happens when you're at a baseball game. They go to the kiss cam, and then like the guy comes out with a sign that says "my sister," and it's like, oh, okay, let's go over here.
But and then Han gets the girl, which was very cool.
Well, like
Harrison Ford carries a lot of that movie, honestly, with just the amount of charisma he gives to Han.
I just think all the characters
all the actors were fantastic.
And like, man, like people in the 70s were like, man, they were like, they had some grit to them. Like it seems like everyone just can take everything, like Leia is just like a badass, like Han is such a badass. Everyone's just a badass. Like
and then you have C-3PO, these droids that give a little bit of humor to the like the formula was just so perfect to make great movies. The cast is so good. You really relate to all of the characters. Like Luke wanting to get off of a desert planet. That's super easy to relate to.
That's really interesting to think about now. Like it started at a desert planet and then you end at Endor, like the greenest of planets.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Well, it's a moon.
It's a moon,
though, right?
Yeah, the forest moon of Endor.
Like, well, each of the originals had their own soul to it. Like you had like A New Hope, where it's pretty much like, I sum it up with just the binary sunset. Like that's like the whole movie to me. Like Luke looking out over the desert and seeing the sunset, and then the music playing and whatnot. Empire Strikes Back, I think of the iconic line, "No, Luke, I am your father."
So good.
Like, oh my God. Like I remember watching that with Fong Fong, and like I didn't tell her ahead of time.
She didn't know? That's great.
It's just like, wait, no. And then like in Fong Fong's favorite out of the three was Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi?
because Ewoks. That's how she thinks. Like, why did she get into Star Wars? Because Baby Yoda. Like she sees cute things and it's like, I'm on this. And like really like Return of the Jedi, like especially I like the Ewoks a lot. I bet there's a lot of people that hate the movie because of the Ewoks, right?
There's definitely a section of the fan base that blame George Lucas for going into a merch heavy series with the addition of the Ewoks, because they're definitely there to sell merch because
they're cute, or
because they're cute. And one of the genius tactics that George Lucas used when he made Star Wars was he got paid less up front to make money off of the merchandise.
Yeah, like he got like, didn't he get like all the rights to?
Yeah, he got a lot of
stuff?
rights to merchandise creation and licensing and selling stuff like that. So I think the original cut of Return of the Jedi at the end doesn't have the Ewoks, the original before, like that was never released. But I think his original idea didn't have those, and he added them later when he knew that he could sell merch.
Wait, what?
Like the very original idea for Return of the Jedi, I don't think has Ewoks at all. I've read.
I really like the Ewoks.
I like them a lot. I think they're fun. I think they're a cool alien to add. They're like little Chewbacca's.
I think it makes I see, like Return of Jedi has a lot of energy to it. Like the other movies, because I think of another iconic scene from Return of the Jedi is like when Jabba is about to throw him into the, what is it, the Sarlacc pit? Is that what it's called? And like he's just like, "Are you sure this is your last chance, or else everyone here's gonna die?" And he's like, "Haha, you're stupid." And then he's like, "Okay." And then he has R2 shoot his lightsaber into the air, and he catches it, and he starts just making mayhem everywhere. Like that's another big like iconic scene for me in Return of the Jedi. And I think
it's an awesome scene.
I think it's one of the things that make that film. Just that haven't you ever noticed that there's like one scene, there's always like one or a few scenes in a movie that makes a movie.
Oh yeah, I think the scene for me in Return of the Jedi is Luke's fight with Vader at the end.
Oh,
when he gets really angry and he almost loses control, but then he pulls back and he's like, "No, Emperor, you've lost because I'm not gonna kill him."
That's a great, and then just the follow up, like Luke
getting electrocuted by Palpatine. Like that's the first time we see that Force lightning. And it's like, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I liked what George Lucas did with the character for Palpatine in that movie. Well, throughout because like you see him briefly in the fifth one, right?
I think so.
Because you see him in a hologram.
Yeah, he talks to somebody.
Yeah, and so then I think it's Vader. He talks to Vader, you know. But then you see him. He's always this like character shrouded in mystery, and then at the end, it's like you see like his whole mannerism throughout the whole thing is just so. It's like the pinnacle of evil kind of thing.
Yeah, he is evil incarnate.
Yeah, I actually remembered that was another character I really liked to cosplay as when we were playing. Well, maybe LARP, as I should say, like when we were playing Star Wars as kids.
You just get to shoot lightning at people.
Yeah, like that. But like, yeah, all three movies like all have like such a great soul to it, you know.
I think that's a good way to put it. They had soul.
Yeah. Oh my god. And so now coming to the prequels.
As fun first movie in like 18 years or something, right? Because I think Return of the Jedi is like 81.
I don't even know. Like I never looked it up. But I would think it's more like 84 or something, because like you had 1977 is the first one, The New Hope, and then 1980 or something like that.
Return of the Jedi is 83. So yeah.
80. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think I remember it every 3 years, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I mean, like, for me, I still the prequels still have a place in my heart for me, Because like I remember playing all those video games, like the pod racing game
Oh,
for
the pod
Nintendo
racing game is so
64.
good. I remember playing the
Oh,
Phantom Menace
so
game and
good.
really enjoying it.
There was a Phantom Menace game.
Yeah, it was like a 3D adventure game on the
Mm-hmm.
PS2, I think, that I played it on.
I don't think I ever
No,
played that.
I played it on the computer.
Oh, was it?
I remember playing it on the family computer.
Uh-huh. Like,
Star Wars video games are also a fun topic, I think, that we could jump into later, some other time.
dude, one of the my favorite games like growing up, like were Star Wars games like Rogue Squadron for GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was also they had one for PS2 as well, but like then also the Clone Wars game. Oh man, me and my friends and my brother would just play that for hours. We love, especially like the Waves one where you were in the arena and everything. But so okay, so starting from Phantom Menace, I actually okay. First of all, I'm gonna say something very controversial. I like Jar Jar Binks.
I think Jar
like
Jar's
him.
fine. I really think
he's
fine.
interesting. And he kind of gives it a little bit of comedic relief, you know. But the character that I hate the most is the Anakin. Like Anakin, the child actor they got for Anakin, like, and I'm pretty sure I heard this is what they did. They like George Lucas just found any little kid that he thought looked like an Anakin Skywalker, looked like he would be Vader, and then it's like, yep, okay, here's the part. You know? And like this kid, oh my god, he reads his lines like, hey. she's saying like, yeah, you keep speaking and you don't let anybody else speak. Like she had to come in here and tell me that.
I think I'm getting some words in.
Yeah, like I don't think you're like
It's a conversation. It's a conversation.
But like, so like yeah, he just like says his lines like with no feeling at all. You know, he doesn't sound like he's actually acting or like actually getting into the character.
Yeah. I
and
don't
that's
like
I
child
think
actors
the thing
very much anyway.
I mean, there are
some good ones. There are some good ones. I feel like in general you're safer to not use child actors, and I do think Phantom Menace I think is actually kind of a waste of a movie when it comes to establishing anything, because nothing that happens in Phantom Menace really applies to the rest of the series beyond that couldn't have been established in the second movie, in Attack of the Clones, or just done an entirely different way.
Well, and then they also made Anakin into Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Right? That he
yeah,
was
the
born
line
of
is
the
there was no
midichlorians.
father, and a lot of people are like, what does that mean? Like, did he leave?
Jesus.
Was he made by the Force? And a lot of people, I think George Lucas
think about
even said
Hayden Christensen. Jesus Christian,
but it was
right?
Jake Lloyd who was the young Anakin.
Uh-huh.
And really,
Lloyd,
I don't really blame him because the script is so bad.
Okay, I think
even great actors like
things...
Natalie Portman and Evan McGregor and Liam Neeson had just, it's very wooden. It's very like,
yeah,
people say Shakespearean word. That it's like they're on a stage, like very clearly playing characters.
It's wooden. That's a really good, because like that's also how I would describe Padme and Qui-Gon Jinn. But and also this is something that and this is what is a kind of a more of a theory for me, is the main character in the prequels is not Anakin.
No, and I think it shouldn't have been. Yeah, Obi-Wan should be. But
because think about it, because like we actually follow Obi-Wan much more, especially in 2 and 3, than we actually follow Anakin.
But
because like think about it,
first one, there isn't really a protagonist. There isn't really anybody that we follow enough it's just a series of characters.
Yeah, it actually feels a little more like a Chinese film or a Chinese, because like
like an ensemble
Chinese,
cast film. There's not a protagonist, so to say, as like a protagonist group that we follow.
Yeah. And the thing is, I really like the world he built.
The world is really cool.
It. Like Naboo is a cool place. Like I think the Gungans could have been cool. It's just like,
I don't know why they went with the dialogue. I appreciate how hard they went into it. Like they gave it their all to do. They all talk that way. But why though? When a lot of other aliens either talk an entirely different language that has to be translated, or they speak common English. Like,
why didn't they just like speak Gungan?
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Why make it this weird proto-English that has words that don't need to be there? Like, there's so many whys in the prequel trilogy.
So that's one of the things that I really like is when I really like Hootenese, like the Jabba the Hutt language.
I like that too.
I really like it. Like I wish I could learn it, to be honest.
Yeah, like Klingon.
Yeah, like it's such a cool sounding language, like Isa, Makisa, Guisa, Aza,
It is so cool. I really do like it.
It sounds really cool. I actually spent a good hour looking up, is there any way I can learn Hootenese? Is there a book? Is there a website? Anything, There's nothing. So, but see, like with Phantom Menace, there's a few things that I thought were really cool. Pod racing was a really cool concept. Then you also had the last duel with Darth Maul.
It was very cool.
And then it gave us the song Duel of the Fates.
Absolutely worth getting that. Duel of Fates, so good. John Williams carried that.
Oh yeah. And then we also have let me see. What else? Okay, so then there's the problem with the midi-chlorians. And this is another thing I want to say, like, I know everyone hates the midi-chlorians. I think it would have been a good concept if they would have explained it in a different way.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think so in the movie they say the midi-chlorians create the Force. That is fucking bullshit. That is complete utter watery diarrhea in a tortilla. They just decided we'll just take out the middle step of you actually eating it and putting the diarrhea in the tortilla, kind of thing. Like, it's so what I think they should have done is just be like, there's a high concentration in people of midichlorians in people that are like a natural medium of the Force.
Yeah.
Instead, like, they're attracted.
Yeah, they're attracted to the Force instead of
like,
they create the Force. I can agree with that. That would be a way to tell Force users, basically, with like blood tests and stuff. Which I think in general it's completely unnecessary. But yeah, if you had to have it in there, I think your way is a lot better than what was implemented.
I also think it's kind of weird, and it kind of doesn't make much sense that it seems like they have more high technology in the past than they do in the originals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's just always going to happen because George Lucas, this is something to say he was a leader on, was like tech, basically, in films. Like, he always pushed the envelope with interactive light and media. Like, so he's always using the newest type of thing. Like, that's why Star Wars is so cool, the original trilogy. He's always pushing the envelope to make these really cool films. But in the prequels, I think he did go too far because he uses so many of these static sets that are just blue screen. And it's just people walking down a hallway with nothing to interact with. There's so much of that. There's so much.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the political stuff. Because they told the story of the rise of the empire through politics. And the thing is, when I was a kid, that just went right over me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was really interesting, like, rewatching it this year. Because, like, I could see the politics going on, and it was more interesting this time with the rise of Palpatine and like what exactly prompted him to take control.
Yeah.
That was interesting to me. And but at the same time, I see it like made the pace of the movie much slower.
Yeah.
It was probably the slowest paced movie out of all the Star Wars, actually.
Phantom Menace.
Now that I think of it, yeah,
for sure. Also, it's like Phantom Menace just is a bunch of stuff happening. It's too long. The movie's too long. It's like 2 hours and something.
Well, like to be honest, I think, like you were saying before, George Lucas put so much effects in that movie, like state-of-the-art stuff, that he just kind of and this is like a problem with like most action movies in general. They just forget to make the characters good or the story good. And they just decide, oh, you like explosions, that's all you need.
We're just gonna move from set piece to set piece with no actual thought as to why we need to go to those set pieces.
Yeah,
because
each one will have more cars exploding.
It's like, what? I don't want to talk too long about Phantom Menace because you really can't talk about it for so long. But whenever somebody rewatches it, I like to challenge people to just, after about 10 minutes or after every scene, pause it and really think about why that scene happened.
Okay, and
what could have been different. Like the first scene, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are sent to do trade negotiations as Jedi. We're never really told why, in general.
Yeah, why
are we sending Jedi for trade?
Yeah,
is that their job?
Well, I think that was part of like the whole thread where the Jedi Council was getting too much power,
was getting too much power
and whatnot.
But that's not really like. And then immediately they're put in a room, and then they try to gas them. And then after 2 minutes, they open the door, assuming that these mystical Jedi sword wielding people that can use magic are going to be dead. Why not just close the door and leave it shut for the rest of the week? What? Like, why do you even send the droids to open the door? You're gassing them. It's just like, why?
Cody, were you a Nazi once? Is this why you're thinking about these things?
Oh my goodness.
Like I don't know. I guess I don't know. I think the child in me just was like, hey, we can forget about those plot holes. you know?
So a lot of the set pieces are very fun in the first one. I like a lot of the locations. I like a lot of the ships. They're very cool designs and stuff. Darth Maul is great. He looks awesome. Sucks that he died in that first movie.
See, and that's the last thing I want to say about Phantom Menace. Well, I mean, and then he comes back in one of the other series, right?
Yeah, in Clone Wars.
But I wish both Qui-Gon and Darth Maul wouldn't have died because they are great characters.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think Qui-Gon had to die.
Qui-Gon had to die for the way that he was telling the story.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan was supposed to take over, So I think Qui-Gon kind of had to
not
die.
A great teacher. Anakin's fall, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, now that I think of it, I wish Qui-Gon was maybe more of a better father figure kind of thing, because like he seemed like a father figure, but at the same time, like I wish I wish all the characters in Phantom Menace were less wooden and more lively.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I wish at least Darth Maul would have lived on, because I think Darth Maul would have been.
I mean,
I wish there was more Sith.
Yeah, it's one of the weak points of the prequel trilogy, I think, is that he killed Darth Maul in the beginning. Because in the original series, to go back to the original trilogy, Darth Vader is with us from the beginning to the end. We have this enemy that we know. Now we've already killed the first enemy, and the only other person we know because we've seen him is Sidious, who we already know is the Emperor. This is also one of the hard things about a prequel is we come in with more information.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we know that's Palpatine. We know that Sheev is Palpatine because it's really easy to tell. I don't know how anybody doesn't know that he's Palpatine. He's like...
I think it's funny that that I did, like, my brother told me his first name a few months ago, Sheev Palpatine, right?
Sheev Palpatine.
I think it would have been hilarious if they just gave him a regular name, instead of Sheev.
Like
and I
Sean.
think actually
Sean Palpatine.
Yeah, actually, that's what I told him. That's like, wouldn't it be funny? And I used exactly that name. I don't know why we both thought of it. Like, I was just like, what if his name was just like Sean? It's like Sean's like the slightly overly peppy dude that you get for your waiter at TGI Fridays on a Thursday, it's like,
hey gang,
calm
thanks
down,
for coming
Sean.
in.
Calm down, Sean. It's just Thursday.
Yeah. But yeah, so now we're like, okay, we've got 2 more episodes in this trilogy. Who's the bad guy? And then we get in Attack of the Clones, moving on, we get Palpatine with no setup. Who the fuck is Palpatine? Or not Palpatine, Count Dooku. Who is this guy?
Yeah. Which he's supposed to be Qui-Gon's master, right?
Yeah. And he's trained by Yoda, and then I think him and Yoda do a little bit with Qui-Gon Jinn. Yeah, and that's all. That's not mentioned in the film. That's all extraneous stuff.
Wouldn't it be interesting to know Dooku's fall too? Why did Dooku fall?
Yeah,
there's
just so much.
And then also,
stuff.
who the hell is Darth Maul? That's another thing. He's just like this thing that. It's almost like someone hatched him from an egg and just hey, it's like here's the dark side,
It is and this is one of the benefits of the Star Wars universe still being worked on is that they can make these extended properties that flesh out these characters. We learn more about Count Dooku and Darth Maul from the Clone Wars series and Rebels for Darth Maul. He's from Dathomir that they made. He's the male Dathomir people are actually weaker than the female Dathomir people. So the dynamic is that the males get sent off as labor people, basically. So he was adopted into the Sith by Palpatine.
Huh. That's a little more interesting.
It's really interesting that they can add to these characters that are left open by George Lucas's plot holes.
Yeah.
And that's great, but yeah, it's the movies don't do enough. They try to set up so much and then spread themselves so thin that nothing sticks out. Attack of the Clones is us following Obi-Wan and the Anakin Padme romance. So Obi-Wan is doing this crazy detective work that's a really fun part of the film. And then we see Anakin mention that he's all for having a dictator, and Padme going, yeah, that's not a red flag.
Yeah.
Or him murdering a bunch of sand people and going, that's not a red flag.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to have to say this, Hayden Christensen's acting, especially his facial acting.
His facial and physical acting, fantastic. Really comes across well.
And I actually don't think all of the lines are super cheesy. Some of them hit kind of I don't know, just an okay action film kind of thing.
I agree with that. And they don't need to be masterpieces. They don't have to be. For sure. It's Star Wars.
I felt especially the first part of the movie when they were on what's the city
Coruscant
planet again? Coruscant, and they were protecting Padme and whatnot. It almost was trying to be Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
It kind of felt Blade Runner,
feel that.
Cyberpunk kind of thing. And I think maybe at that time, maybe that's what George Lucas was kind of trying to do, is just like he did with the originals, is kind of cornucopia everything together. like it was like shoehorning a cornucopia
Yeah.
and like it just not fitting, you know. It's kind of like Cinderella's stepsisters trying to get into the glass slipper and just breaking it and just getting glass in their foot and just ouch. That you don't want to get glass in
It
your foot,
doesn't
man.
work.
Yeah. So like but yeah, like
I think a big weakness is we're only told how much
Mm.
Anakin and Obi-Wan are like brothers at this point. They like
Mhm.
talk about that they had these great stories, but they don't show it.
Mhm.
Like the dynamic between them is forced, and it's a lot of tell don't show. What I would say would fix a lot of the prequels problem is cut Phantom Menace. We don't need it. You can set that up through dialogue, but have like Attack of the Clones be the first ones. We have like semi-young Anakin who's brash and being trained by Obi-Wan, and show their adventures through the first two films, so that the third film, Revenge of the Sith, we really get that feeling that they were brothers and the tragedy at the end of it. Like, young Anakin's just a waste of time. He should have been older. Age him up from the get-go.
Yeah.
There's no point in him being young.
I think part of it, because like it makes it more like it should have been more like a
buddy cop film.
Well, you know, like because like Anakin looks so young, even though he's like 12. It makes for
in
like
the first
him
one?
looking so in
the first one he's 9.
He's 9? I thought he was
9.
like 12.
Nope, he's 9.
Well, see, that just sets up it making like Padme look like a pedophile.
Yeah, she's 15.
And then Obi-Wan not looking like he could be his brother, but more like his father. You know.
I mean, I think Obi-Wan's supposed to be like. No, he's older. I think he's like. I don't know his age in the first one. I feel like it's 22-ish.
I remember even as a kid, I looked at like the whole romance between him and Padme and being like, what the hell are you doing? Like, he's a kid. Why? No.
Yeah.
You know?
But no, it doesn't make sense. Age him up. Yeah. Even if he's like 13. 13 would have been a good age for him to be in the first one.
I think it would have been better if he was like, I think it would have been better if he was 12 or 13 and he was taller and like seemed more like more, you know, because even like
just
Ash
cut Hayden Christensen off at the knees in the first one.
Well, like, you know, even Ash Ketchum waited until 12 to go on his journey to become a Pokemon master, you know?
And he never ages.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, I don't know, he probably made a deal with the devil or something because there's something going on there. But like, yeah, like, I think 12 or 13 would have been a good age, and then it would have brought him closer to like the age Padme and Obi-Wan were at. Obi-Wan, I think, it looked like he was either late teens or early 20s.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I think it's that he's a Padawan for a really long time. I think is part of the lore is that he doesn't get the Jedi Knight status until later in his as he's older. So that makes him also not a great teacher for Anakin, who needs somebody who's Jedi.
Yeah. So let's unpackage Clone Wars just a little bit more. Like, I think I like Clone Wars a lot because of the game, the Clone Wars game. I think that's, and it just sits with me as just a really fun time in my life. And I really like all the different droids and stuff they had. Like all the different tanks and all that.
The super battle droids, the droidicas, the new
ATTs,
walkers. Yeah,
or
really
the spider
cool.
droids. They just had all these like and like you had like the ones with the wheels and the ones with that were like it was like a triangle with like a tank tread all around it kind of thing. There's all sorts of things like that. The droidicas, like you said, and I just really enjoyed like being able to like go like use the different droids and then battling with them and all that. And especially in the arena mode in the GameCube game. So like that's probably why I still watch that movie and still don't think it's an absolute travesty like most people think it is.
Uh-huh.
Um, I also think, um, I do think it's kind of funny how Boba Fett dies though.
You mean
Like he
Jango
just
Fett?
kind of, oh Jango, yeah,
Yeah.
Jango Fett. Sorry, Jango Fett is just like, yeah, he just like all of a sudden is just like, yep, my head's just
Yeah.
gone.
I I do love because a lot of people will try to defend the like badness of the prequels and be like, oh, it's a movie for kids. Jango Fett's head is decapitated from his body, and Boba Fett picks it up and looks at it.
And puts it to his head.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, father.
He's holding his dead father's head.
Mm-hmm. But it's in a helmet. Come on.
It's not a kid's movie. It's an all people's movie. You can't make the argument Star Wars is for kids and then have politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Kids movie just doesn't have politics. You don't put it in there. There's no point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a weak defense when people do that. But yeah, that's a great scene too. Just that like the cinematography of Boba holding Jango's head. That's a cool scene. There's a lot of cool points and locales.
And like the thing with the scene in the arena in Geonosis where they're going to put them to death with the monsters, it actually kind of echoes like the Rancor.
The Rancor pit.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of cool. I like Geonosis. It's an and the Geonosins are kind of an interesting kind of. I mean,
they had
race.
That cool like click language.
Well, and they just kind of like had like this like hive mind kind of thing to them that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's part of the Clone Wars too. It's expanded on.
So like, but the one thing I don't really like about the clones were that it was almost like a Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. It's just like, yep, they're just like they've been on this planet in the middle of nowhere for all this time.
Yep, it's like, oh, the Republic needed an army. Good thing somebody thought of making an army for the Republic.
First of all,
let's not question where that came from, though.
How are they getting paid? Where is this money coming from?
Yeah, like that's.
Or did they just say? Did they just say, "Hey, do this," and it's like, do it for free? It's like, what?
Like, again, so many questions that logically don't add up.
And the Kaminoans, like, you never see any other person from Kamino ever again. You know, It's just like,
it's like we had this Obi-Wan thread, but oh no, we need to get to the climax of the movie. Obi-Wan is captured, and we don't talk about that anymore.
I don't know. But okay, one other thing that Clone Wars brought us was the seismic charge.
I was gonna bring this up. The seismic charge sound.
Oh my god!
So good, so good.
It's oh my god! That Slave One is one of the.
I want to go back
such a cool
just for 1 second on the Phantom Menace part. It is so unnecessary that Anakin built C-3PO. What a dumb, hackneyed way to put C-3PO into the prequels. Yeah. Why is Anakin building a protocol droid? His mom doesn't need one of those. It's for translating languages. What is he doing with this guy? Why does he get taken later and he's now just on Coruscant? Why wasn't he there to start with? He's just a protocol droid. It's so unnecessary that he's built by Anakin. It's never brought up again. He just is owned by Anakin, which could have happened in any way. It's like,
I mean, it's kind of like the way like kids watch films. It's almost like having a dream. Yeah. You know, things don't come together, but then you feel like they come together and you just don't care.
Yeah, it's it's like in a dream. You're just at the spot now. You don't know how you got here or why.
Well,
but it's nice to be here.
Yeah, have you ever had that feeling where you just woke up from a dream and you remember everything and you think it was so awesome and all this stuff, and then you start telling it to someone, and then you kind of like as you're telling it, you're like, wow, it doesn't make sense at all, does it?
It's really making less and less sense the more that I talk about it. Like I'm applying my critical thinking, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's like submitting a can of Campbell's alphabet soup as your essay, as your thesis. I don't know what that was, but that was an attempt at a joke. Okay, so the
Uh,
third
Revenge of the
part,
Sith.
re-
Cool
which
movie.
I think is the best of the three,
Yep.
and I think a lot of people I think would agree with me. It felt like it meant something.
Yeah, it's it has the least amount of pieces that need to connect to episode 4. And I think that's
Mm,
where it gets that cohesive. It's like, okay, the end of this movie, we have to figure out how the Empire happens.
mm.
So that's our end goal. George actually had an
Which
end goal at this point.
Order 66 is a really cool concept.
Yeah, and the scene is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The
Like
the music in that scene, I still tear up a little bit now when that
uh,
whole part comes on.
oh man, I just love the juxtaposition of like Commander Cody just picked up Obi-Wan's lightsaber and
Mm-hmm.
handed it to him, like just being like such a like a friend, and they had like kind of a friendship, and it was probably like fleshed out a little more in like the other series,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. If you watch the Clone Wars and then watch Revenge of the Sith, man, Order 66 hits you like a ton of bricks.
Like I just that was a really good plot piece, but and then the other thing that I really like is, and of course everyone's going to remember this film for this, is the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin,
Yep.
and
Although
the
I will say,
music for
the more
that.
that I watch it, I do think
Mhm.
it goes on too long. I think there
Does it,
are a
the
couple of scenes that could have been cut from the fight.
well, I think
It goes on
one
for
thing
so
that
long it
could
gets
have,
boring. It gets almost bland. It's like,
well,
okay, wrap up, please.
yeah, I think one thing they could have cut out is like where Anakin or Obi-Wan jumps on that droid, and it just looks so stupid.
Yeah.
That he jumped on the droid, and the droid's just like, "What's going
Yeah,
on?"
it's like,
It's
oh
almost like
no, I'm getting pushed into the
yeah,
lava.
like unnecessary comedic relief.
It's like
It's like,
droid humiliation kink for George Lucas.
yeah, I feel like George Lucas definitely had something like that, man. But
I
like,
mean, that did get added into Jabba's palace, the droid that's getting its feet burned. Do you
oh,
remember that?
yeah,
It's so
oh
stupid.
man.
I remember
But
that.
what I see, the funny thing is, I don't really remember too much of what is it? What is it? What is that movie called? Sith something, Rise of the Sith? I don't know. What is it? The third
Oh,
movie?
the third movie in the last trilogy?
No,
Or you mean
in
Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith. Why couldn't I think of that? But like, I the only things I remember from that movie is the fight, and then like, the going to the Jedi temple and slaughtering all the uh children. That really shocked me when I was a kid. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah, it's
it's just like, what are
why?
you going to teach us today, Master Skywalker?
What are we
And then
going to do? Yeah. That was definitely, again, this is not a movie for kids. It's just a
yeah.
Star Wars movie.
Mhm. I mean, at
But
least this time they didn't show Anakin picking up a kid's like head or anything, right?
yeah,
But was it there was something else in
there's another
the
weakness
beginning?
again here.
What?
We see General Grievous, another new
Mm,
bad guy with
mm,
no setup,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
he's like,
such a cool character.
he looks cool, and he's like
Another
established as
character
this.
I like to LARP as.
He's established as this like scary droid commander who can kill Jedi and stuff. The whole movie, he just runs away and then gets shot to death.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, why even add this? Why not
I
just
actually
have Count
remember
Dooku?
I remember like playing as General Grievous and never getting anywhere in whatever storyline we made, because everyone would be like, dude, you die in the end anyway, it doesn't matter. It seemed like that for all my characters. Like Count Dooku is like, you get your head cut off, so like,
Oh my goodness. That
like
that's so funny as well. It's like, don't worry, the Sith are our specialty, and Obi-Wan is immediately knocked out of that fight.
mhm. Yeah, man, it just seems like I don't
And
know,
also,
like
never forget the tragedy of Darth Plagueis.
I don't know who that is. Oh wait. Oh no, I remember who it is. Isn't it Sidious's
It's Sidious's
imprint?
master when
Sure. Yeah.
he
And he
talks
does like
to Anakin at the opera.
yeah, and he gives that smirk like,
Yeah,
huh,
that
I
really
fucked that
long
guy up.
speech.
Mhm.
Whoo, buddy. That
But
yeah, it's just again
that's okay, that's
it's
another
set
thing
piece
that I
to set
really,
piece to
really
set
hate.
piece with no real cohesive reason to go anywhere.
Well, okay, another thing that I really hate it, and it has to do with the scene you were just talking about, is like how easily Anakin was swayed to the dark side.
Yeah, it's
It was just
like so easy.
it was just like coming up to him and being like, "Hey, they don't want to make you a master. Hey, I know your mom's dead, but hey, she can come back if you just come over to the dark side, you know?"
Yeah,
You know,
it's like,
and
hey,
that was just all.
Padme's looking a little pregnant and she might die in child labor because you're having dreams that
Yeah, there was
maybe
that.
Palpatine is
Oh yeah,
doing.
that was it. It wasn't his mom. It
Yeah.
was.
I mean, but the
Padme.
death of his mother like helped with his like
Yeah.
the setup of Palpatine being so insanely like smart and masterminding all of this stuff is just like so Deus Ex Machina. Just like it just works because it has to work. So many
Yeah.
pieces of this plan don't work.
Yeah.
What if so he gets captured by General Grievous? Is that on purpose, or to get Anakin to fall and kill Count Dooku, or is this an accident and he's just going with it? What level of mastermind is Palpatine actually? Because that ship almost crashes. What if it had crashed and they'd all died?
Yeah.
Does he have control over that?
Yeah.
What
like,
if more Jedi had come to arrest him?
you bring up a good point, because that does. Yeah. Like even the scene where with him almost getting killed by Mace Windu is just like kind of, first of all, Mace Windu is also another he was probably the only like character like Jedi that I liked to LARP as, really, like
yeah, because
I
he's
think
actually
it was
like he's a cool character and he's Samuel L. Jackson. I do think they could have leaned further into Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
and been
exactly.
Like, he's like an angry Jedi, which they do in the extended because he uses a form of lightsaber combat that uses like the dark side in a good light manner, which is why he's able to actually like fend off Palpatine basically because he
Is that why he also has a purple lightsaber?
He has a purple lightsaber because Samuel L. Jackson wanted a purple lightsaber.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I mean like I think that's also why I LARPed as him, because I was like, I like the purple lightsaber, and I was always
fucking cool, dude. It's just Samuel L. Jackson, man.
I remember I was always super sad as a kid for never being able to find a purple lightsaber in Toys R Us.
Yeah,
like because like I really
it was always red,
Mace
blue, or
Windu.
Yeah.
I mean, so of course I went to the dark side then. You know,
yeah, you,
like, you don't give me my purple
dark
lightsaber. Yeah, it's like if I'm gonna have to pick one color from purple, it's gonna be red. You know, but like so, then, you know, like this just like easy fall. It's like it's really just like spoon feeding a baby. It's just like
it happens because it has to happen, because we know that Anakin is Darth Vader. Like, again, you can kind of fix this issue if you get rid of Phantom Menace, make Attack of the Clones the first one, so where you have that second episode as the Clone Wars, really show like that this is a war that drags Anakin further to the dark side, which Clone Wars, the show, does. So if you watch it, you get the sense that Anakin always has these tendencies to go the more violent route. So it actually fleshes out that fall and makes sense, but that's not what George Lucas did in the movies. So
and to be
he's
honest,
being propped up by extra stuff.
And to be honest, when watching the second and third movies, the Jedis are kind of dicks to Anakin.
Yeah, they're
just
suck.
like, patience, young one, patience, young one. And it's just like,
tell
like,
Yoda that
why don't you take your fucking patience and shove it up your fucking like shitty ass, you know?
Yep.
Like, because like seriously,
let me tell
like,
Yoda that I'm worried that this person I'm very close to, I'm worried they're gonna die.
And then it's like,
Just let
patience,
go,
young
dude.
one.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No
I
red
just
flags
think
there.
it's just like such a so like I actually kind of understand why he's just like fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's just like, man, I want to protect the people I love, and that is established in Anakin's character. That's one of his things, is he always really cares about the people that are close to him. That's why he goes crazy on the Sand
Mhm,
People when his mom dies,
mhm.
when
Which
Padme's in trouble. It's
I think
established.
I think they wish it would have, if like you just said, like I wish they would have fleshed out that kind of tendency to just be reckless and stuff like more. But at the same time, the other problem was
Here's the thing in
that
Attack of the Clones.
mhm,
What they could have done that in the
mhm,
when Padme's attempted to be assassinated, the
uh,
reckless move was to jump out the window. But you know who does that? Obi-Wan does that. So Anakin goes get the car. Just flip the two people and suddenly you've got a more cohesive character.
but then also the other problem is that he's the Padawan, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah, and it
It's
would have made it like but I mean that would have been also a really interesting dynamic, you know, if Obi-Wan was always trying to look like the master,
yeah.
you know.
It's
Yeah, which they kind of try to do also, because sometimes like Anakin, like especially with like flying and whatnot, like he was the more um
he was way
you
better
know
at flying. Yeah, he's
yeah,
supposed to be the greatest
exactly.
pilot ever, whatever.
Hmm. Well, okay, so now do you think we should go through the prequels, I mean the sequels really quick?
Yeah,
We
let's
can
go through the
make this
secrets
an
really quick
hour and a half
because
episode.
because honestly, this is
Mm.
an hour and a half episode for sure. I don't really think we need to talk about episode 7 because it's just episode 4 and it's J.J. Abrams setting up a bunch of mystery boxes for no reason.
Mm-hmm, pretty much. Like the red arm, that would have been cool to know what happened, but
Yep, but
it
doesn't go anywhere.
but the next guy just kind of
Uh,
uproots it. But
Anakin's lightsaber is found on a weird planet. That's a story for another time. Guess we don't need that. Uh, it it's just bad.
and then like what is it? I mean, okay, my favorite character out of the sequels is Ben. I really like Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren, Ben Solo absolutely carries that series.
Yeah,
100% the most interesting character.
and I mean like okay, we finally get like um I mean we get Ren. Oh no, wait, it's
Rey,
Ray. Sorry, Ray. Which has the coolest theme out of the new soundtrack. And then also, you know, we finally get like um, you know, a woman being a main character, and then she just becomes bland. Like
yeah,
Ray is such a bland character.
yep. And she's not a cohesive character either. They keep flipping back
Yeah.
and forth between her leaning towards the dark side and then coming back to the light, though. So it's like they set up this emotional journey for her and then they just nix it.
Well, the thing is, she never actually like leans towards the dark side. They have these conversations with each other, like Kylo and her, but the thing is, she never seems to be tempted. It's like they give like the illusion that she's attempted.
Yeah, but she never falls in any way.
Yeah, and I think Kylo Ren is in that aspect is a much more dynamic character, because he does like betray his dark masters, and he does like go towards the light side. But Rey doesn't really have any reason
Yep.
to go
Uh,
to the dark side. Like
she's
it,
really just the character to be the focal point of the good guys, I guess.
and you know what she feels like? Have you ever read the story Stone Soup?
I have not.
Okay, so the story goes like what you do is you have a neighborhood, and then one day a guy just comes out with a cauldron, and he takes a stone, puts in the cauldron, and starts boiling, and it starts telling people we need some more like ingredients for the soup. And then like this person brings some beef, that person brings some onions, the other neighbor brings some carrots, the this other guy like Uncle Stu brings in some um you know, celery, whatnot, and then soon enough you got a nice hearty, you know, stew. stone soup, you know, and the stone is just there to represent like the start of everything, and just like it's not really anything. That's what Rey is. She's the stone in stone soup. That's what it feels like
Yeah,
to me.
that's
Because
pretty
like
good. She's
everything
just
else
the
around her is
generic.
interesting.
Yeah, she's just the generic character to have go do stuff
Yeah,
because it has to
exactly.
be three people.
I
Because it has to be Poe, Finn, and her. That's, I
yeah.
guess, the
I
formula.
mean, and see the other thing is like Poe and Finn. Finn was kind of an interesting character because he also had like this kind of almost like scaredy cat kind of
Yep.
quality to
And then
him.
they character assassinate him to be Rey. Rey, I have something to tell you.
Uh,
I'm not going to tell you, though. Hey,
uh,
Rey. He just got character assassinated to yelling about Rey with no progression. In fact, it is the greatest tragedy of these series that in episode
that
8,
then also
they
didn't
don't
make
kill
Finn
him. In
what
episode
Finn.
8, he's charging towards that thing that he could have stopped. He's learned to sacrifice
Oh,
for the greater good, and somehow Rose catches him, stops him from doing that, and then says the dumbest line.
wait, did Rose not die?
No, they didn't die.
That
J.J. Abrams wrote her off, though. She doesn't have any lines in Rise of Skywalker
yeah, that's
because it's
what
not his character.
confused me. That confused the hell out of me. I was like, what are we? It's almost like you know what it made me feel like when you watch a Pokemon movie and it doesn't become canon, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
they forget all the lines they ever said in those movies.
Yeah,
You know?
that's basically exactly what happened in Rise of the Skywalker. They just pretended that 8 didn't exist.
Mhm.
For the most part, it didn't matter at all. Like,
Wait, okay, and then but you know the thing is, I wish Finn would have been made a Jedi.
I think so
I
too.
think
He should have been Force sensitive.
It would have been really cool, and it would also make sense why him as a stormtrooper, like betrayed.
Yeah, broke away from the training and stuff because it would have made sense.
Yeah,
And they
exactly. I
sold
don't know
the
why.
posters that way. They were like, look, he's holding the lightsaber. In the trailer, it's like, look, Finn's got the lightsaber, but we did a little switch-de-doodle on you. It's Rey. That's fine. It's Rey. That's great. I love having a female Jedi as the main protagonist. That's cool. But give Finn something. Like,
and the other thing is, you know how deep of a character it would have made Rey if we would have known at the end of 7 that she's Palpatine's like granddaughter.
Yeah, it would have been a cool thing to establish early on.
Deep, and then not bring back Palpatine.
God,
but like have like almost have like Palpatine's spirit as like the dark side, like
haunting Rey. That would have been a really cool idea.
It would so great with Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren was someone that went from the goodest of the good to the baddest of the bad, and then like Rey being like thought to be one of the goodest of the good. Then at the end of 7, oh my God, cliffhanger, she's Palpatine's daughter. Oh my God, I would have lost my shit.
That would have been really cool. Yeah, like, the fact that they put her as a Palpatine at the end of in 9, what a waste of episode 8 saying your parents are nobody, which was establishing that anybody could be powerful with the Force. But instead, Rise of Skywalker, which just, I guess, 2 families that are Force dynasties at this point are the most powerful Force users no matter what. It's always a Palpatine and a Skywalker, I guess. Why?
And that's the other thing I loved about
it. Can't go that far because Anakin's parents weren't Force users. So that's the start of that Force line. We don't know anything about Palpatine. Like, why are these 2 families
I wish
central?
It would have... Okay. I like that 8 tried to do like that. It's like, wait a minute, the Sith are needed kind of thing. And I wish we would have actually gotten more lore about the Sith, because we got a lot of lore about the Jedi in the prequels.
A lot of Jedi lore.
Maybe we should have gotten more Sith lore, you know? And then the other thing is like, with having this dynamic between Kylo Ren and Rey, and like knowing Rey is Palpatine's daughter from the beginning, like, it would have gone very, very well with this idea of like, like, you know, the iconic scene of Luke looking at his lightsaber, just chucking it over his shoulder. Like, it would have made way more sense, because it's more almost getting in a Taoist concept of there's no concept of good and evil. It's like good and evil create each other
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, and that's what
Best to
8
just
was
be
trying
a
to do.
neutral gray
But
zone.
then
Yep.
But then 8 gave us the fucking casino planet, and then the fucking like master codebreaker that betrays him and doesn't come back for anything,
Yep.
and is a complete waste of time of a character.
Yep.
You know, it's like
there are a couple of big issues with 8. I'll say when it came out, I would say I was an episode 8 defender. I was like, this is the middle of the series, so it makes sense that we're not going to get a lot of conclusions. I liked a lot of where it went. I think it was too long in general anyway. But yeah, when episode 9 came out, now I'm looking at 8 and I'm like, okay, here's all the things that I think failed on it. Number 1, why have it pick up right when Luke gets the lightsaber? That's something that was never done in Star Wars. If you look at all the other ones, it takes place after a bit of a time jump. And the opening crawl is explaining what happened in the interim. So the fact that it's picking up right at that moment, now we're like, okay, what had just happened was Starkiller Base was destroyed and the Rebel Alliance is winning, I guess, or the First Order is small. But instead, we have the First Order is apparently super overpowering the Rebel Alliance. They have just one fleet of ships that are on the run with a amount of time, which the biggest mistake was time bombing. Never time bomb your own fucking movie, because it was like, we have 12 hours worth of fuel. This whole movie takes place in 12 hours? How does that add up with Rey getting taught and like hyper jumping back and forth between the casino planet and the thing? It's like, it doesn't add up. You can't just be like, yeah, that all took place in 12 hours.
But I'll have to say, like going into hyperspace to destroy that Super Star Destroyer, or what I think it was that.
Yeah, the
that
cinematography is so cool on that scene.
But at the same time, it also makes me think, why was that not done before?
Yep.
You know?
And then in episode 9, they go, oh, that's a once in a million maneuver. That's why we don't do it. Just a little one-off line to be like, no, yeah, that was definitely dumb. Because, yeah, why not just put droids into little asteroid-like ships and just hyperspace them through combat?
Yeah, why didn't we do that with the Death Star? You know?
It's like it opens up a lot of questions. So it's cool, but you didn't think about it.
I mean, like, okay, I'm going to say this. Like, episode 8 and episode 9 felt more like Harry Potter than Star Wars to be. Because it started making the Force feel more like magic.
Yes, like really, really powerful. And it's like, yeah, we've always done more powerful stuff in Star Wars as it grows, like the Force and stuff. But yeah, it's a little over the top.
Yeah, it almost got like something like Harry Potter mixed with JoJo's like a Bizarre Adventure towards the end there, with bringing Palpatine back, and especially
and like the Force
beginning
dyad.
of 9.
The which one?
The beginning of 9, like, felt like a kid wrote it. It's like Palpatine's back and he has a bajillion Star Destroyers.
Yep. The literal worst opening crawl I've ever seen. The dead speak. I immediately, this was me in my chair. Literally, because I went to see it with Ashley and she's looking over at me throughout the whole movie and I'm just sinking further and further into the chair in the theater because I'm so depressed by every scene that's coming on. Like, she's like, I looked over at you and I was like, oh yeah, this is a bad one.
Like, oh my God. Like,
You know that was announced, Palpatine coming back was announced in a Fortnite collaboration?
As it would be. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm glad that I was in China during that time because I didn't need to be
and
a
I'm
part
all
of that.
for interdependent collaborations and stuff. That's super cool. Don't make a huge plot point. Like a thing in a video game. What are you guys doing?
See, and like, okay, I kind of like the whole thing. Like they kind of like, okay, one of the best scenes in 9 was seeing the ruined, like the ruins of the Death Star. I
Yes.
really like that.
Very cool
But
to see.
the problem is, like I said, they had all these like artifacts and stuff that made it feel more like Harry Potter than Star Wars,
Yeah.
because you never had it before
Yeah, that's
in
something that
any.
happened. How does this knife get carved exactly to look like the wreckage of the Death Star on a planet? What if it had sunk even just a centimeter further down?
Uh,
That knife is completely useless.
uh,
Who went and marked it out and was like, "Yep, that'll last for a long time,"
mm-hmm.
as a map? What
And
the
then just the
fuck?
whole last thing with, like, what is the Sith planet called again? Luxor or something like
No, I
that.
thought it was an M. Like, it's not Madrigal. Um,
Look it up really quick.
Exegol. Exegol is the
Exegol,
planet.
that's it. Exegol. That's why. Okay, that's why I said Lexor, because like I remember an X in there. But yeah, like, like okay, Exegol would have been a really cool planet. They just didn't need to make it all like find it through artifacts and stuff, because like that just makes it feel like magic and Harry Potter and
Yeah,
stuff.
I,
And then
I I really like the way you're saying it. It does feel like a Harry Potter film, like going and finding the Horcruxes
yeah,
or a
exactly, the
philosopher's
Horcrux.
stone, or yeah, it
Uh,
doesn't feel Star Wars. It feels like a weird adventure movie
and you know what makes
with
it feel
magic.
very much like Star Wars is because the score is also written by John Williams,
Yeah, you're
right?
right. Da,
That's
da,
why
da,
it's
da,
kind
da,
of giving me
da,
that
da.
feeling. Like, so like 9, and this is what, like, I keep saying, it's a hot mess. It's just a hot mess of just all these it
And I will say something that makes it really difficult to recover from was that Carrie Fisher unfortunately died.
was she supposed to get more.
Leia was it. Number 9 was supposed to be like Leia's movie because 7 was like Han's exit from the series. Episode 8 was Luke's. Episode 9 was supposed to be for Carrie Fisher, basically, and
Really?
Leia's like crowning moments. And unfortunately, she didn't get to do that. So I
Didn't
can.
she die from like cocaine overdose or something like that?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, but I remember
Mm.
her. I remember her dying around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics, but that sucked. Like that just
Yeah, of course.
makes it really difficult to recover from, basically. But
Mm-hmm.
they could have done better still. Like
Mm-hmm.
they used her in the movie still, and I don't know, it was not good. Like her
I don't know. I
thing in the
thought
movie
that
was she
the
talks a little
actor
bit
was
and then
okay,
she goes and lays down and
and then
then
disappears.
disappears at some point. Yeah.
That was kind of dumb. I agree with that. I didn't like that.
So
Like,
instead of writing her out in a reasonable fashion to be like, okay, we don't have Leia anymore. General Leia
mm,
is gone. They worked with the footage they had and then wrote around her death. And I think it's a little disrespectful.
there's, I don't know. It's kind of like, okay, like I think they kind of didn't have enough faith in the new actor, because like
They absolutely did
for
not have enough faith in the new cast.
so like for instance, like, and we just so happened to have another actor that died, that in a movie that we just talked about, Harry Potter, like Dumbledore, the
Mm-hmm.
Dumbledore actor. Like after the second movie, the actor for Dumbledore, I don't know what his name is, died unfortunately, and then we got a new Dumbledore, and I actually liked the new Dumbledore. But you could tell he was a much more energetic and like
Yes, he
um
brought a really different attitude to Dumbledore. Like,
which I actually liked in Azkaban. It was a nice feel to it. But it's also funny that like there's like that meme about like Goblet of Fire where
did you
like,
put your name in the Goblet of Fire? He
yeah,
said
and then it's
calmly.
like he said Goblet, it's like, Harry, did you put your name in it?
Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
It's such a great meme. But
Oh man.
yeah,
Oh
like
goodness.
I see, and I think that Dumbledore worked very well. You know, I thought, it was. he was a good replacement. Even though the first one was also amazing, it's
Yeah,
like
I think he
it
really fit
doesn't.
the books. But yeah,
I
they went a different direction, and that's good. It worked
yeah,
out.
you just have some faith and try to use, even though it might create a few like weird character plot holes. Or character, like, what's the word I'm looking at? Asymmetrical, like some places that the character would be a little asymmetrical. I think it's better to move in the direction of the new actor rather than being like, let's just completely cut Dumbledore.
Yeah. Um yeah, I'd say in closing, I just feel like they tried to capture that Star Wars lightning in a bottle from the original trilogy where George Lucas didn't have a total plan going in. They were
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, that worked in the 70s and early
Mm-hmm.
80s, so we'll do that now. But
Mm-hmm.
that isn't what Star Wars is anymore. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
random connection of movies. It's a
Mm-hmm.
whole universe that George Lucas built and sold to Disney. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand why they went in without the barest of plans for what the trilogy was going to accomplish.
But I'll say, like, at least the Mandalorian like brought back my faith in Star Wars.
Yes, I
Like,
feel the Mandalorian is a great direction. I really
yeah,
liked it.
and
And the
I'm really
finishing of Clone Wars
excited
was great.
I need to watch the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff. Even Bob told me to watch Rebels.
I'll give you some advice. Rebels, the first couple episodes, pretty much hot garbage. They're just such generic kid cartoon humor, movie, stuff like that. After that, though, really picks up. 2 to 4
I think he told me
seasons,
that too.
really good. Really, really good.
Like, what? And then what is the other thing I wanted to say? The other thing is the sequels prove to us that it's not just George Lucas that can shit on his own series.
That is true. That is true.
Disney also took a hot shit on it as
Yep.
well. So, like, but I mean, the thing is, though, Disney also saw like the beauty in shit, that you can take shit and you can still use it as manure to grow
Get those
a new
Disney Plus
beautiful
subscriptions. Yep.
Yeah, with those, yeah, and grow beautiful, darling Disney Plus subscriptions in the comfort of your own home. So like yeah, I'm very excited to see the Boba Fett series, the Book of Boba, and also see what this Obi-Wan series is going to be like.
I will
too.
say I'm excited for a lot of the stuff. I am a little worried that they're once again jumping into pushing out as much content as possible, because after 8 came out and Solo was a little bit of a bomb, they nixed a lot of the content they were going to make. 9 came out, was garbage. We got Mandalorian and the final of the Clone Wars, and now we have like 12 more series lined up.
Oh my god.
And it's like, okay, I feel like you didn't learn the lesson of quality over quantity.
I don't know. I think they just also know that people will just watch anything.
People watch it and buy it.
Well, like, that's also why I like refuse to watch WandaVision, because it's like it's almost like I feel like corporations have like this agenda to that it's almost like of course everyone's going to watch this and then watch this the next month and then just that next month, and then they're just going to watch whatever we give them. It doesn't matter. Like have someone, like a hairy ass dude going up in front of a camera, like spread his butt cheeks. Like, don't watch that.
As Aaron Hansen mentioned in one of the Mario Maker episodes they were doing, American TV just feeds us slop over and over and says, you like this slop though. And it's like, it's the only thing you feed us, but you love it.
Exactly. Oh my god.
But you love the slops. Like, it's the only thing you have.
What a legend, man. Seriously.
Okay.
Oh, man,
that's a great episode. Let's wrap up. Give us a like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. 5 stars on iTunes if you can.
Don't give us 5. 3 is good enough.
You're right. Don't watch this. Don't listen.
No. Just give us what you think we deserve. And like I have my faith in you. I have your faith. Also, give us a 7.7 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like
yeah, put this episode up. It's the only one that's going to go up on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, like and if you have enough money, hire like one of those like movie critics for us. Like I'm interested. I'm interested what a professional would see about our show. Probably just he probably just like make himself a bologna sandwich and just kind of half listen.
I love the thought of a professional with a bologna sandwich.
Well, that's how below him we are.
Okay, all right. Let's hop in the space pond. See you later, everybody.
Yep, sounds good. Bye-bye.